To Portugal now, where the centre-right Democratic Alliance has claimed a victory in a tightly contested general election. The Socialist Party, who have ruled for the past 8 years, have conceded defeat. But a surge in the far right has left the country facing an uncertain political future, with no party claiming a majority.
After 8 years in power, the Socialist Party is conceding defeat. Candidate Pedro Nuno stepped up to congratulate the victors.
Everything indicates the Socialist Party will not get the most votes. So I want to congratulate AD for its victory.
The AD stands for Democratic Alliance. The centre-right party, headed by Luis Montenegro, is set to lead the government. Montenegro ran on a platform that promised tax cuts for companies in the middle class and a voice to unite Portugal.
The Socialist Party, whenever it speaks, does so angrily with a part of the Portuguese population.
Montenegro now has to try to form a coalition, but he's ruled out cooperating with the far-right Chega party. Chega, which means enough, is headed by ex-football commentator André Ventura. He ran on an anti-immigration platform that focused on stamping out corruption and easing tax burdens for ordinary people. The party came in third, but also saw a threefold surge in votes.
We can't have another 4 years of socialism in Portugal. And this time the people have said what they want. They said the right wing must govern, and asked the right wing to govern. Our mandate is to govern Portugal for the next 4 years.
The rising popularity of Chega indicates a right-wing shift in Portugal. The Socialists won the last election in a landslide victory, but after a corruption scandal and rising inflation, voters seem to be turning toward new parties and a new direction.
Let's get the very latest from our correspondent Jan-Philip Schultz in Lisbon. So this looks like a narrow win for the Democratic Alliance and its leader, Luis Montenegro. But as we've seen, he seems to have little chance of forming a majority government. Can you tell us at this point who looks set to run Portugal?
Well, indeed, it is a very narrow victory without any majority in sight. From what I can see, Montenegro has 3 options now, of which 2 seem very unlikely. He could try to find some kind of deal with the far-right Chega party, but he has ruled out this option many times. He could try to form some kind of grand coalition with the socialists, but traditionally the socialists and the center-right are political antagonists in Portugal, and they have major differences regarding their policies. Or, and this seems more likely at the moment, he could try to form a minority government and hope for the goodwill of the more moderate parties in parliament, but it will certainly be an unstable government.
I'd like to return to talk a little bit more about that far-right Chega party you mentioned. They're really in the spotlight, aren't they? Led by André Ventura, they've secured up to 18% of the vote. That's up from over just 7% in 2022, a pretty significant rise. Can you tell us what is behind their popularity?
To have a short answer, I think it's disappointment. Disappointment with politics in general and disappointment with the mainstream parties. Socialist leader Santos said in his speech last night, the rise of Chega doesn't mean that there are millions of racists in Portugal suddenly. I think it has a lot to do with the corruption scandal that the Socialist Party was involved in, which was also a reason for the snap elections. And this gave a lot of ammunition to André Ventura and his anti-establishment rhetoric. He's a very charismatic politician. He knows especially how to talk to young people on social media, and his other big topics were the cost of living and immigration. Regarding the cost of living, housing is very expensive in Portugal, basically unaffordable in big cities for average Portuguese, and a rise in numbers of irregular migration has also led to a lot of controversy here. So Ventura really knew how to use these topics to his advantage.
And this will be Portugal's most fragmented parliament in decades. Can you tell us what this will mean for the country?
There are definitely unstable times ahead for Portugal. We will probably see a shift to the right, probably more conservative social policies, stricter rules regarding irregular migration. But if Democratic Alliance leader Montenegro goes ahead with his plans to form a minority government, this will certainly be an unstable one, relying on changing majorities in parliament. Some analysts have even brought in the option of fresh elections, but it's very doubtful if we will have clear minorities after a new election here in Portugal.
Thanks very much for that update. That is Jan Philip Schultz for us in Lisbon.